taking time for your health. The African American Wellness Watch. Trusted information for us, by us. Dr. Mike Lenore and other experts from around the country and around the world have the latest on how you and your family can get healthy and stay well. It's time for the African American Wellness Watch. Welcome to the Wellness Watch. I'm your moderator, George Strait. We are blessed at the Wellness Watch to be able to bring to you true experts on any of the topics that we're presenting. And today is a great example of that. We're going to be talking about how to keep your skin, black skin, and hair, black hair, healthy and well. And we've got the best person to lead us through this discussion. Talking about Dr. Melanie Macklin. Once again, to come to the Wellness Watch, thanks so much for being with us.
Hey, George, thank you for having me. I love giving some great wellness tips, so let's enjoy and talk about it.
Dr. Macklin is a famed dermatologist, researcher, lecturer, and as you can tell, a good friend. So this segment, let's talk about skin cancer. Okay. We can get it too, right?
Absolutely. Let's start with just the forms of skin cancer. We've got squamous cell, cancer. We've got basal cell cancer, and we've got melanoma. Starting with most simple that affects us mostly is the melanoma. And this is why it's prevalent in our community that no matter, the myth of saying not wearing sunscreen, that's out of the question. We have to wear sunscreen because when we do, if we don't, and we do get skin cancer, it's going to be it's likely in the melanoma category, which can be very aggressive. And so this is why it's very important, George, that our audience knows that we need to wear our sunscreen of at least 30 SPF on a daily basis. But melanoma is definitely very serious. It's the one that we get, and it tends to happen on what we call the acral areas of the body. And what we mean by that is the nose, the nose, the ears, the scalp, the palms, the soles. We call those acral, ACRAL.
And when talking about your moles and melanoma, there are other letters to be concerned with, namely A, B, C, D, and E.
So A stands for asymmetry, when one side of the mole looks different than the other. B is the border. So if the border is fuzzy or it has a little pod sticking off the side of it, that's a sign that it should be checked. C is color. So if the color is changing, getting darker, or any color change, that's a sign. D is for diameter. So we always say anything that's larger than the end of a pencil eraser. And E is for evolution. So any change that you're seeing in the mole, if it looks different than it did before, then that's a sign that you should get it checked.
Let's not discount the mole, George. Let's look at it. Let's take pictures. Let's get them evaluated because it can be very serious. And, there's lots of different treatments for the melanoma. There's the basic excision in the early stages, but it may be more extensive where it may need to be some medications, some chemotherapeutic medications involved. Then they may need to undergo the Mohs surgery, which is where, an area is taken out and it's looked at underneath the microscope to see if there's any sort of melanoma skin cells there. And we keep going deeper and deeper and deeper until we get it all. It's more clear-cut, specific way to be able to make sure that we're getting all of those cancerous melanoma cells out of there.
So the other two skin cancers that you were going to talk about that I so rudely interrupted you.
No. But
let's talk about basal cell and squamous.
So it's so critical, especially in our community. So we definitely needed to cover that topic quite broadly.
So let's talk about basal cell and then squamous, maybe.
Yes, there's basal cell basal cell cancer that looks like a little papule, maybe reddish in color or even skin color. And that typically can happen on the head and neck area. So any sort of, papule that may be tender or in a sun exposed area and you're not sure why it's getting larger, you definitely want to go get that assessed and get it biopsied to have a good your dermatologist to look at your entire body to see if any of those other sort of atypical papules, but they're going to tend to look more skin color. So someone still may say, oh, this is just a little bump that I've had on my skin for a long time. But as they get more sun exposure, they're saying that it may be getting larger.
I've had two, one here and one here. And
And
it's
also can
because
occur on the lip too. Just like
Yeah.
melanoma can occur on the lip because we still
Mhm.
have pigment cells in our lip for melanoma, but also basal cell can occur commonly around the vermilion border of the lip.
Mhm.
Mhm.
I mean, the reason I got it is because I didn't listen to my wife and didn't put on sunscreen.
Oh,
Uh, and you were talking about Mohs surgery. I mean, that really is. I mean, this is MOH, but I had it twice, so maybe it's Mo.
Mohs. So it's with an
I had
F.
Momo. I had Momo, right? But it wasn't a big deal. They sort of dug into the side of my face, and it was okay. But it really does work. And I guess you
Yeah.
do the same kind of thing for squamous, right?
Squamous cell, those look, more scaly, reddish kind of patches that can occur the chest, the arms, the back, and pretty much any sun exposed area. Commonly, this can be seen on men, especially men that are bald. That scalp has to be looked at on a regular basis to see if there's any sort of these scaly red patches. And generally, those are treated quite simply. We use something as simple called liquid nitrogen, which has like freezing them off, if you will. Basal cells can be treated that way as well. But more importantly, you want to make sure that you get the proper evaluation and diagnosis, and don't try to go to your local drugstore and treat these things on your own. If you're talking about some suspicious areas and sun exposed parts of your body, please go and let it be in the hands of your dermatologist, not Dr. Google, and certainly not the retail person at the drugstore to tell you what to do. Have it evaluated because it could be life-saving.
You raised an interesting issue about bald men, and those of us who aren't quite bald but it's thinning. For most of our lives, we had hair, so you'd go out into the sun, and even if you put sunscreen on, you didn't do anything for your head. But
Yes.
now I wouldn't go out without a hat.
Yeah.
Because you can get skin cancer on the top of your head too.
Oh, absolutely. The top of the head, the back of the neck, the ears. So, to the point on hats, large brim hats. The baseball hats do nothing. Whether or not you have it to the front or turn it to the back, it's still not doing any sort of major protection as far as protecting against the UV rays. Also, being cautious of straw or those woven hats, because still the UV rays are penetrating through those hats as well. So large brim hats are the best. If you're going out without a hat, guys, you still want to make sure to slather on some sunscreen to that scalp as well. But I would suggest more sunblock. Some of the heavier, what we call physical barrier type of ultraviolet products, which tend to have like the zinc parathione, or the titanium dioxide, things that can physically block out the ultraviolet rays is quite helpful.
So I think there are three takeaways here. First of all, African Americans can get skin cancer, and
Yes, we can.
No matter what your complexion is, and it's something to look out for. Melanoma is not anything that you want. You ought to be on the lookout for it. And all of this can be avoided if you do what your mother or your wife or your husband tells you to do. Put on the sunblock. Wear the hat. Don't be stupid out there.
And then one other takeaway is get yearly skin checks. Take pictures of any sort of atypical areas, and make sure that you keep that information safe and sound, so that then when you do go to the doctor, they can follow that accordingly.
This is great stuff, as I knew it would be. Thanks so much, Dr. Mack.
You're quite welcome.
Just these few minutes will actually save lives.
Yes, they will. Happy to be here. Thank you.
And remember, you can get all of these tips and more on our website at aawellnessproject.org. That's aawellnessproject.org. And we link to Dr. Mack's site as well. And you can see her URL on the screen right now. They'll not only get you to her tips, but also to some of the products that she sells to be able to address some of the issues that we've been talking about today. So Dr. Mack, again, thanks for being with us, and thank you for watching.